Canadiens Golden Knights, Mario. Game 2 happened last night. Canadiens won 3-2. They even the series by one game apiece. Next game is going to be on Friday at 8 p.m. on USA. It's going to be in Montreal, so make sure you go check that out if you want to go watch it. This was a pretty good win by the Montreal Canadiens, Mario. They did a really good job. I'll start off with the stats first. I'll start with the Canadiens. Joel Armia, Paul Bryant, and Tyler Toffoli all had themselves goals. Joel Edmondson, he had himself 2 assists. And Cole Caulfield, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Corey Perry, and Jeffrey Petrie, they all had themselves assists. They did a really good job on offense, Mario. And same thing with defense. He did a really good job. I'll get to that in a second. And Carey Price had himself a good game, Mario. He saved 29 out of 31, which is a save percentage of .935. So he did a really good job. Now let me go to the Golden Knights because their only 2 goals came from one player, and that was Alex Pietrangelo. He had himself 2 goals. And 3 assists came from 3 other players. It was William Karlsson, Keegan Kotar, and Jonathan Marchessault. And Marc-Andre Fleury didn't really have his best game, Mario, but he could have been better. He saved 20 out of 23, which is a save percentage of 87. Now let me go to the box stats, okay? Because this is why I say the Canadiens did a really good job. Game stats. Canadiens had 23 shots on goals compared to the Golden Knights 31. Face-off percentage, Canadiens had 58.3%, which is really good. And the Golden Knights had 41.7. Power plays, the Canadiens didn't even have a single power play in this game, which is pretty interesting. You don't really see that a lot. And the Golden Knights had 0 out of 2. Penalty minutes, the Canadiens had 4, and the Golden Knights had 0, which is something else you don't really see a lot either. 0 penalty minutes, something you don't really see all that often. Hits-wise, the Canadiens had 53, and the Golden Knights had 45. Blocks-wise, the Canadiens had 26, and the Golden Knights had 18. Giveaways, the Canadiens had 5, and the Golden Knights had 10. And takeaways, they had Canadiens had 4, and the Golden Knights had 14. So let's talk, okay? First of all, the Canadiens did a really good job what they had. There was a couple of things that they could have done better, and one of them I look at it, Mario, and it's the takeaways. But other than that, I look at this, and they did a really good job on it. They really did defensively, offensively. They did what they had to do. They capitalized on those opportunities, and they did a really good job with it. They had 0 out of 0 power plays, which, again, you don't really see that a lot in hockey. But I go to the Golden Knights, okay, and this is exactly what we were talking about. The sloppiness. You can't be sloppy. Because just these stats were relatively similar to the first game. Unlike the second game, they won the first game. They were pretty physical. They were defensive in some fronts. They were giving away the puck. They were taking away the puck, which is good. But at the end of the day, you're not capitalizing on those opportunities. You're doing exactly what the Canadiens were doing in game 1. Power plays, you got to make those power plays. That's very, very crucial. And you have to win your faceoffs. That's just that. You know what I mean? Everybody on this team has to step up and do what they have to do. You're going to Montreal. You gave the Canadiens some kind of momentum going back home. So now you need to figure this out and take game 3. That's what you have to do. That's the mission. So overall, Mario, this was a pretty good win by the Montreal Canadiens. I say the only thing is to kind of be better at the takeaways. Other than that, it doesn't look good. The stats actually look pretty good. They're physical. They're defensive. They did a really good job there. They were capitalizing on the opportunities, which is a complaint I have for them in the first game, and they addressed it, and they did a really good job. So I got to give them credit. As for the Golden Knights, they got to do exactly what they did in game 1, except don't be sloppy. You got to capitalize on those opportunities. They made a couple power plays that game, I believe. So that's what they have to do, and just don't be too sloppy. So with that being said, game 3 is on Friday night, 8 p.m. It's going to be in Montreal. It's going to be on the USA Network, so make sure you go check that out. And best of luck to both teams.
Yeah, well, first of all, Nate, I got to call the Canadiens out for one quick second, okay? And the reason why is because you had a 3-0 lead, and you almost gave it up. You let Pietrangelo score 2 goals, one in the second period and one in the third. You had a 3-0 lead. Keep that pressure on him. Here's the problem, Nate, okay, that I have with the Canadiens in this game is because if you don't keep that lead, then you're showing. I'm going to be honest with you. You're showing holes in your game. If you're giving up points. Now, regardless, I understand what people are going to say. It's only one player, but regardless, whether it's one player, 2 players, it doesn't matter. Okay, you cannot give up a 3-0 lead. You have to prove your dominance throughout that whole game, so you can leave as many as I'm sorry, so you can cover as many holes in your game as you can. Okay? Because obviously, like, every team has flaws. There's no such thing as the perfect team. But you need to cover those holes. And that's something that the Canadiens just weren't doing it towards the end. Now, the Vegas Knights, you could have won this game if you, again, woke up earlier than what you did. And it's not going to be one player. You can't rely on one player to win you the game. It's not going to, or just not going to work that way. And again, still, Marchessault and like William Karlsson, they did a good job like contributing on like that last goal. But other than that, like, everybody else was a no-show. Now, one guy I really want to talk about that I got to tip my hat to is I don't have a hat on right now, but one guy that I really got to again, give a lot of credit to is Carey Price. We talked about Carey Price, how he's either having a really good game or a really bad game. And last game, he had a really bad game. This game, he's having a really good game, And we talked about the same thing, too, with Fleury. We said, like, during these playoff series, Fleury has been the same way, but just less. And this was, again, it wasn't his best game, like you said. But overall, this was a very, very close game, Nate, But at the end of the day, I feel like the Canadiens, them letting go of 2 goals towards the end, and that's just not helping you. And not only that, as far as the Vegas Knights, again, you need to wake up earlier. And maybe if they were to, get 1 goal at least in the first period, it would have been a different story. Who knows? But yeah, Nate, I mean, I look at this, and again, it is very rare to see like 0 penalties in a game. Usually you get a power play for something. So I mean, like, I think honestly that's kind of a bit of an interesting fact. As far as hits, again, it was a very physical game. 53 hits for the Canadiens, 45 for the Vegas Knights. I look at giveaways, and again, that's something that the Vegas Knights had that the Vegas Knights need to really work on. But yeah, like, again, the Vegas Knights, I want to say that is definitely one of the reasons to why they lost by a goal, is because they kept giving up, is because the giveaways that they gave, the amount of times they gave the puck to the Canadiens. And then takeaways wise, the Vegas Knights did a really good job, Nate, and the Canadiens just didn't. That's something that the Canadiens need to work on, is getting more takeaways, getting that puck in your possession a lot more. It's not just about the face-off percentages where you start, but it's about how many times you have the puck in your possession. That's what's going to determine the game. First period, look, the Vegas Knights didn't do good, Nate. They shot. The Canadiens had 12 shots on goals opposed to the Vegas Knights 4. That's not going to cut it. I felt like they should have been more aggressive in that first period, and maybe we'd be talking about this a lot differently. Same thing for the Canadiens. In the second period and the third period, they were the second period they were outshot by the Vegas Knights 10-4, and they were outshot by the Vegas Knights in the third period 17-7. Again, you need to stay on that aggression. You need to be as aggressive as you were in the first period, and that's something that the Canadiens didn't do. I felt like the Canadiens let their foot off the gas a little bit, especially with Pietrangelo. That's why Pietrangelo was able to have the game that he did with the 2 goals. But overall, Nate, again, this was another sloppy. Again, it was a win, but again, both sides, have a lot to work on. I feel like there hasn't been that one team in this series that has shown like pure dominance and pure, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like again, there's still a lot of flaws left in both these teams' games, And again, I like how guys like Tyler Toffoli is having he's having a good series so far. Last series he had last game he had an assist. This game he's had a goal. So Tyler Toffoli has been really stepping up and contributing in this series. But everybody else needs to contribute as well. You know what I'm saying? Armia obviously has been very, very a big factor in these playoffs. Guys like Corey Perry have actually done a good job during these playoffs. So when I really look at it, Nate, I think personally, if I'm going to point to 2 things on both these teams, I think I'm going to point to the fact that the Canadiens, if they have a lead like this, like a 3-0 lead, they can't give it up too easily. They can't let them get 2 goals and get back in the game. And not only that, the Canadiens need to also work on getting the puck in their possession a lot more and being more aggressive too. Again, 23 shots on goal will work for you this time, but next time it might not, And as for the Vegas Knights, wake up a little bit earlier. That's what I got to say. Wake up a little bit earlier. Improve your face-off percentage. And not only that, like giveaways, you can't be giving up the puck 10 times compared to their 5. It's just not going to work. It's not going to help that team. But overall, game 3 is about to come up, and I wish both teams the best of luck in Montreal. And again, we'll see what happens for game 3.